Welcome to Get the News Straight. I'm your host, Glenn Sutphin, and today my co-hosts are going to be my special guest, my wife, Susan Sutphin, my son, Nathaniel Sutphin, and of course, my co-host, Chris Dorsey. Today, 6 years ago, a good friend of ours was murdered in our front yard, and the police knew all about the man that did it and did nothing about it. I've gone after him. I was standing in front of during the peeps in police, and I spoke, and I wanted to give my family a chance so that you can hear it's not just me that was affected by what happened. You want to talk about Sean a little bit and what happened?
God, Sean was a Boy Scout. Yeah, he was the type of man that if you needed something, he'd come and help you. That day, we were planning on watching our Star Wars marathon. One hand he had his Mountain Dew, the other hand he had the movies. He had gone over to help his neighbor on his other side because he had a flat tire, and then he was heading over to our place. And I heard a pop, a bang. It was either I thought a car backfired or someone's door slammed loud or something. I didn't think of anything of it until I opened the door and I saw one of my best friends on the ground outside. And let me tell you, there's a big mental switch that went off in my brain, because one minute I thought, Sean fell down, he must have hurt his hip or something, because he was laying there going, ow, help, and I thought it was just, he tripped or something. And then I went over to help him, and no, there was the guy from down the street running away down the other end of the block. And sorry.
No, it's all right, it does affect people, okay? It's not just a black issue. It is a human issue that happens. And yes, it's hard to talk about. And
yeah, there was my friend dying on the floor in front of me. And the man from down the street who wasn't really too stable was running away, and I was like, what happened? What the hell? And over comes our neighbor and he says, it was, I'm not going to say names, but it was that asshole from down the street who came over and just walked up to my friend and shot him right there. And we kind of knew the guy was a little unstable. I mean, but
yeah, that took it beyond the point. And what did the police do afterwards?
One, they kept me from going back in my house where my son was alone in the house, where my son was alone in the house, and they wouldn't let me back in the yard. I had to climb over a fence, and now I'm not exactly the most athletic, shall we say. But I climbed over the fence and went to get my son, because they wouldn't let me in to get my boy. They just stood around and said, no ma'am, you cannot enter the premises. I'm like, can I at least get my son out? And then we tried to tell him who it was and where he went, and I remember seeing Cliff at the end of the block. The cops were there. Cliff was at the end of the block. He came, he saw what was happening in front of our house, turned and ran, and I pointed out, there he is. There's that asshole. And they just
Yeah, the way they always do. They paid no attention. They turned a blind eye, a deaf ear, as they always do, like I've confronted them about.
Not 5-10 nights after that, I heard another shot. And the man got off way too late.
Well, thank you, babe. Thank you for telling everybody, because I know you haven't been able to tell people what was going on that day. And it is heartbreaking to people. It does affect everybody here in my family. And to say it doesn't, and to pretend like it doesn't, or to pretend like I have no rights, I have nothing because of my skin color, and then you tell me I'm a racist. Yes, I am. I'm a very big racist. I am all for the human race. And you let me down time and time again. But today is about Sean, and to remember a good friend who was taken from us for no reason. And to give my family some...
He was the sweetest man. Him and his wife, we'd hang out, we'd have a good old time. We'd watch movies, watch anime, we'd goof around, play games.
What friends do?
We were friends. And then I lost...
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And, yeah. Alright, well, thank you, babe. Let me get Nathaniel on here, and then you go do what you need to do. If you want to...
I'm going to go... Okay. Dinner.
This is live, people. Alright. You go.
Yep, I'm going to go that way. Honey.
Thank you. Alright. My next guest is my son, Nathaniel Sutphin, who has had some troubles with this in the past because... Scoot forward.
Yeah. I'm sort of not as...
Right.
Shapely.
That's fine. But tell them about how you've experienced this with, like, the kids not believing you in school, and how you had to look up stuff on the internet. Tell them a little bit about all that.
Let's see. Well, first of all, this is from the viewpoint of a, 9-10-year-old?
Yeah, from your viewpoint. Everybody knows. Just go ahead.
It's been 6 years, and when you're a kid and you, like, sitting down watching one of your favorite TV shows, eating some of your favorite food, because, you know, it's a day to relax. You don't have school that day. You tend to relax, and then a pop went off, and I was a bit louder than the usual chickens cooing or whatever the people across the street did. So I went and tried to see, hey, what was that noise? Saw Sean lying there, and I wondered what was happening, so I asked my mom. Then, almost like lightning bolt, she zipped on out of the house, was right beside him, and now it's kind of a blur. All I can really remember is that I was there trying to help him, and I remember everyone rushing around him. I remember a loud pop, and I remember him getting carted away, kind of floppy looking. So I remember crying a bit when my mom was in the chair in front of me. I remember my grandmother getting back, and me not being the most tactful, being very young, I just straight up told her that Sean's dead. And more crying, of course, but saying it just like that, and I got reprimanded for being a little too tactless, but retrospect, hindsight 2020. So, looked up a few things online, tried to figure out what happened to him. I mean, Sean's not back. Usually when he goes away, he's back by now. Let's just say he ain't coming back walking on 2 feet. Came back in a box.
Yeah. And how have the kids treated you in school? You said you had to look up the stuff because they didn't believe you.
I had to look it up, give them the facts, and even then my teacher took me out of the room because we were talking about some serious stuff that day.
Yeah, don't talk about serious stuff, but we need to talk about serious stuff, right?
Yeah, we need to talk about serious stuff, so I got taken out of the room, and the rest of the class was told what had happened. I had to look it up, because no one would tell me. Of course, no one told the kid that was right there. And then the therapist was there. Therapist was fun, telling me, oh, it's all okay, nothing's wrong. I saw a good friend die out there. And everything's okay. It's like a freaking nanny. Of course, that's what the state's coming to, but...
More of a ninny state, not a nanny state. Nannies actually help people. Ninnies tell you what to do and what to think and how you have to behave. But yeah, you can see it does affect some different generations of people. And
not just that, it affects people in separate ways. Like, my mom was here bawling her eyes out, and for me, it just sort of numbed over the years. Still hurts, just not as much.
Well, it affects different people different ways. All right, well, thank you. Is that everything you want to say, or you want to say anything else? What do you want to say something about Sean?
He was good, man. Heck, he was an uncle figure, since I got a father figure right here. But he was a good man, didn't deserve what he got, but what happens, happens. Just gotta learn to walk with it. Remember the dead, fight for the living. Heck, that's what you're doing, so...
Pretty much. Alright, well, thank you.
And now on to your regularly scheduled broadcasting.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Alright, now I'm going to bring my co-host in, Chris Dorsey. And we're going to switch up gears a little bit, and unless he has some words he wants to say about what he's seen in the what I've shown him of all the evidence and everything.
Well, yeah, I'd like to say it's very, very sad. It's traumatizing, and all I can really comment on with authority is what I've seen of the evidence presented to those who allege that their job is to bring about justice. And I'm talking about you presenting this evidence to the police and looking through the documentation of what you've gathered over the years, your interaction with the highest government officials that would be under the that is alleged to have the authority to exact justice on such an open and shut case, and also to compensate those affected in whatever way is possible, instead of kind of what they did, which was cover up and then crush those victimized, to victimize or attempt to victimize the victimized. Now I know your family can never be a victim because y'all practice the common law, and common law victim is one who goes along, but again, from the very beginning, you did what their job is supposed to be, which is you solved the crime. And it wasn't really just you in particular. It was you in particular, but it was just the tactic used, which was video and eyewitness evidence, and then that's when the cover-up began. And excuse me, we can kind of segue into the same folks that were in on the cover-up and the grandstanding and the
grandstanding in my front yard. And
I mean, I want to add another word to grandstanding, because these folks, they get paid for what they do.
Well, obfuscate. They came in, they grandstanding, which you look up the word grandstanding.
Right, if we're talking about like Steve Drew and Charles Willis. The Citizens Against Crime, Riva, the same
Citizens Against Crime, the same people that were there at the Peeps and police meeting, running the Peeps and police meeting.
Right, Justice RVA, like it's all just like different names, and every aspect of their little game that they're playing and their lies are documented as we will document and as the video that Glenn's taking and some of what I'm taking. I mean, Glenn's getting, you know, the whole thing. I'm getting, you know,
clips and pieces of,
you know, but the video bears out, and what the issue is everything that is provable and most important is obfuscated and ignored, and then they put up in its place some sort of controlled operation or controlled story or controlled event for the general population to focus on. And here we have it again. I mean, they do it with lots of different stories, but like they definitely do it with homicides. So they do it with, you know, popular movements. You know, I mean, if you've been around Richmond long enough, I mean, and it really, you only really have to have been around for like, you know, 5 years to know that the Occupy Richmond and the way Occupy Richmond operated is exactly the way that this so-called Justice RVA. And, you know, I tried to tell everybody, you know, to be honest, what was going on with Occupy when it started. And I said, let's use this police operation and this government front till they turn on the ones that are setting this up and go down to the Federal Reserve Bank. We're organizing it. It's not really even me organizing it. It's Williams, this guy that they name Captain William Smith of the Richmond Police Department. I mean, I'm not calling him captain. I mean, he might as well be fucking Captain Crunch as far as I'm concerned. But he's the one that's doing it. I don't have the money to put porta potties down in Kanawha Plaza. Therefore, Captain Crunch is going to, like, you know, fill out some paperwork and then send it over to the Department of Parks and Recreation for the City of Richmond. And they're going to call SB Cox. And they're going to deliver porta potties like they do for Fridays After Sunset or any other
events that they have.
Or the Richmond Bicycle Race. You know, they have these events. They have a description of what the events are, and then we present receipts saying, like, look, it's not us that's camping out at Kanawha Plaza. It's the police. And when the police decided that our the permit that they gave themselves and, you know, provided all those tents and all this other stuff, when they decided that time was up, they just came in. But also, they told us, and I told everyone else in the encampment, they're going to raid us. These guys are FBI plants. They are here to be the eyes on the inside and to cause a ruckus so the police are called in. That's the guy who's calling them in. All right, I told you everything. I was telling you that last week. The bondsman's walking around the camp the night before this happens, handing out his cards. It's obvious. I'm telling you. Reva Trammell, who is a police mouthpiece, is telling me the exact time of the raid. I'm telling you. I'm leaving. See you later. Get out now, and then come back later after the police are gone. No, because the guys in there, they had to have the whole thing go down the way the police. When I left, no TV cameras. When the raid went down, TV cameras everywhere. Okay, so basically what I'm saying, and I got off on a little side tangent, is we know everything that's going on. We know it all. When we go to this, excuse me, I must apologize.
Bad evening. It was a bad evening.
When we go to these events like the Peeps and Police, we know that this is an entire setup by the police, and like everybody who even pays anybody who watches the evening news and has a little bit of critical thought, they'll think the same thing. Where they run a story called Police Working with Protesters.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the title of the story on NBC, which I think is the shittiest of the local news. That's WWBT, but is actually the most viewed. Go figure. Allegedly. But, I mean, not like any of them are good.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like any of them are good at all, and they're all really big-time liars, and we all confront them and say, you guys lie for a living, and you're a disgusting mouthpiece for, you know, your Jew slave masters, etc. And they know it, and we document that as well. But even saying that, at least Channel 12 is like straight up. They're like, police working with protesters, and then it shows, you know, the police and the protest with self-proclaimed FBI informant Nate Stickle leading the way. You know,
Charles Willis
standing in front of
holding the two signs.
Yeah.
Walking between the two signs of smiley-tician.
And then he's being interviewed in front of
the second precinct.
The second precinct on Belt Boulevard.
Saying he was trained.
Saying he was trained. Standing in front of the sign that says Richmond Police Department.
With Steve Drew.
Okay, so I mean, they're just like, these guys are all just like, all of the council members, the freaking mayor, the freaking hangers-on like Charles Willis.
Media knows about it. All of them are in on this.
They're all in on it, and they all are just playing a game of grab ass. Like, I watch what these folks are doing. The security, the police, the freaking politicians, everybody, every official that they're constantly like touching each other. They're constantly like grabbing each other's shoulders, patting each other, grabbing each other's asses, sticking their asses in each other's faces. Like, I'm watching these folks. I'm watching them. And this is just a big freaking joke being played on you, and everything is a setup. And, you know, we have these folks who are just mouthpieces for the police, and that's what this Peeps and Police thing was. So when we fast forward a little bit to Justice RVA and we talk about the protesters and police story, then we'll fast forward to another Channel 12 story, and I think that other stations may have gotten this well, so we'll say probably, I think WRIC and WTVR cover this as well, where Atala Shabazz made a statement, and then Steve Drew made a statement, and then there's like this stock footage of the young teenage female ambiguous, let's say, hand representing something symbolic, shaking hands with the bald white police officer, punching bag, shitbird Steve Drew. So, I mean, so there you have it. It's like, and so then they agree, oh, we're gonna have a official powwow. We're gonna have, and like, powwow is like a powerful, important thing. So I hate to use that in vain. So I apologize. That was being sarcastic as shit. But you know, I shouldn't be so sarcastic. So who's involved in this and who's leading the way? The actor who came out of nowhere, Atala Shabazz, and what looks like in video I have that I haven't released yet, and you know, Glenn caught, her handler in this case, which is of course Miss Community Clovia. So like, we have this event, and you know, I know Clovia Lawrence from a serious conversation I had with her, telling her to tell her fucking asshole shitbird cop buddy CT Woody that he better fucking prepare for jail, and that we're not playing around with these government fucking thugs who think that they can come into fucking our country and run our fucking shit. But I had a serious conversation inside Preston Brown's restaurant. No, a bunch of people saw my serious conversation with that degenerate cop groupie and betrayer of her own people. Like, she does like events live from the Richmond jail and broadcasts to her audience. I don't listen to that garbage radio station with that fucking shitty music. Like, what's that? I don't even know what the fuck that Power or Kiss FM. I don't listen to that shit. I don't listen to garbage. But I know what she does. I've heard it. I've seen her live broadcasts. I'm paying attention to what's going on around me. Live broadcasts from the Richmond City Jail, interviewing Captain Torture, CT Woody, the fucking dumb, retarded Uncle Ruckus. And basically saying, oh, great job, CT. This is a great jail that's going to be the pipeline from our school system. Man, you're idiots. You're idiots if you listen to Clovia Lawrence. You're a freaking idiot. And I'll tell you another thing. I caught that stupid fucking idiot, that shill who gets paid money to betray, those most closely related to her. Let's just, she's betraying all the people, but for the most part, she's mostly just betraying those most closely related to her. And I'm talking about the listeners to Power, Kiss FM, or whatever the fuck that garbage is. And so basically, I asked this liar for a living, Clovia Lawrence, this police shill, who calls her events peeps and police. Peeps. I'm not a fucking peep. What do you think? What do you think is going on, Clovia? Come on. What do you think is going on, lady? I mean, and I use that term loosely. I mean, so I asked this Clovia, Miss Community Clovia, hey, you know about you're gonna be running this meeting? Well, I just require to talk to my servants, and I told her that everyone in this room, and I made a caveat saying, except for the other people, everyone in this room, including you, you're my servant, I'm your boss. So, I'm going to start billing Community Clovia because she's making false statements and false accusations. She is engaged, and we have her on camera making false statements and false accusations because we state, you're working for the police. No. This is for the people. Okay, so some of the people got a microphone. It was a setup. She's holding the microphone. She's the police's Sally Jesse Raphael. That's what that event was all about.
That was a staged event.
With producers.
You made it, yeah, with producers and directors. And the camera crew that they had there, and not mentioning all the hidden cameras that were around. So, and I'll segue into when I first walked in as press. I was told,
that's right,
I'm not allowed to film in a public
Who was the first person to tell you that?
Kelly Abellino?
Yeah, Kelly Abellino of the corporate media.
And yeah, I kind of looked at her and I'm like, well, maybe you're not, but I am. So, and I walked in. So then I get told by the police, they go, you can't have your camera. And as they're telling me this, 3 people walk in with a smartphone filming. Okay, so they walk in with their smartphones filming, but I'm not allowed to have my camera. Not allowed to have my camera to film, which was like, yeah, okay. Because I was waiting for
smarter than the police.
Yes, or smarter than people using them too. But okay, so now my big complaint with the police is they violated my First Amendment right in my front yard. Now they're telling me in public as a press photographer, not in my front yard, which is more than legal to do, but in a building that they own, which if they'd have said it was private, I would have walked out. They said it was public. I'm like, okay then, fuck off. I can film. You all might not be able to carry a camera, and I physically can. I can physically walk in. I did. Why? Because I have my First Amendment. It says freedom of the press. What's freedom of the press? And if it's public and they're trying to be transparent, then why can't we film it? It doesn't make any, their rules don't make any damn sense when you look at them and when you listen to them. And if you listen to them, you're a citizen. Go ahead and keep listening to them, protect them. They don't make any damn sense. They don't do their damn job. They were just there to show, look, we're doing something for the black community. This was all about, let's push the black community. You know, in the 80s, we got rid of all that. I want you 20-somethings to know this. In the 80s, they got rid of all that shit, okay? We went beyond that. The color of your skin, listen to your own Martin Luther King. It's not the color of your skin, it's the content of your damn fucking art. And you won't listen to your own teachers, your own people, and you turn against them. And yes, if you stop killing 52% of your children before they're damn born, maybe I might listen to Black Lives Matter. How about
who's funding that too?
George Soros funds that one.
Who's like the big time funder of all the pro-abortion?
Exactly. It started off Margaret Sanger. Fucking Bill Gates. We'll get Bill Gates in there, big motherfucker.
We could definitely throw George Soros
to
the funding of
Planned Parenthood, all that shit. Agenda 21, people. We'll just wrap it up with the conspiracy theory. Agenda 21. There it is.
And if you want to call Agenda 21 a conspiracy theory, I would say that there was, a lot of theorizing that went on with the planning of
It's a definite conspiracy.
It's certainly a conspiracy because, again, they hide things in plain sight, folks.
This conspiracy is when two or more people gather together to do something, and
yeah, even in their freaking kangaroo court of law, what's the highest crime? Conspiracy to commit and carry out blank, 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 blank.
And you may as well just fill in everything they do there, right? Because they make their laws because they go, we don't want other people doing to us what we have done unto them.
Right.
So, let's just get it right out there.
That's it. And folks were throwing out ideas about, the rules makers always, moving the goal lines as they go, and that's the rules, that they can change the rules anytime the rules are disadvantageous to them. And we see that even at a local level, like with these,
just with the police.
Hagerstown or Richmond City Council meetings where they operate under like these special use permits where they go like, okay, we gotta have rules, we gotta set these rules forward so all this stuff doesn't come to pass. And then they
have votes, and then they have votes to suspend the rules so they can break the rules that they don't follow anyway.
Right. So it's like the rules are, we make the rules as we go along, and the rules are we get to take everything of yours. And if they just went out and flat said that, they wouldn't get anywhere. The folks would stand up to it. So they gotta like really say that to everyone, but they gotta go, oh no, we'll give you public comment period, but if you say something we don't like,
we'll turn the mic off.
We'll turn the mic off, or we'll cart you off, or we'll frame you for a felony, or you will. But yeah, anyway, I can go on.
Yeah, he will. Here's another point I want to make. Okay, a man called Chris Dorsey. Okay, he's press. He's been on press TV. He's on TV. He's been paid. He's paid press. God, please pay me. I'm press. Look at the difference between the way they treat him and the way they treat me. And he's there with me. Just that alone, where they're like, oh yeah, okay, yes, Glenn. Oh yeah, your press pass. Yeah. Chris Dorsey, get him. Why? Because I've got a piece of plastic around my neck that says I'm press? Is that it? If I put mine around his or get him his own, would you leave him alone then? No, you wouldn't. You still fuck with him. So, because you fuck with me. Until you realize, oh my God, we fucked up, and then you run the fuck away and hide. And then, we don't know who the hell you are. Later. It's like, the fuck you don't. Steve Drew knows who I am.
I mean,
Reba knows who I am.
They're all paid lots.
Martin Drew knows who I am. He sat in the same room with me at on the radio. He knows who I am.
WCLM.
Yeah, WCLM. Don't know who you are.
Yeah, some guys walking into a room, filming you, and well, you know, I mean, actually, Marty and I go way back, and Marty's pulled that bullshit and he's pretending he doesn't know what
They all do it. They all do it.
Yeah.
And then later on they walk up and they're, oh, hi, Glenn.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't know who the fuck I was.
It's like, what's that guy's name? That crazy guy that
Reba. Well, Reba came up and was talking to me before the peeps, and why don't you just call it perps and police? The perps and the police. That's what was there. Or if you want to be politically correct and you're calling it peeps and police, why don't you go with the vernacular peeps and popo? To be physically correct street language, because if you're calling everybody peeps, you may as well call them the popo or the 5-0.
Well,
let's just go with the correct vernaculars here.
I'm
tired of it.
I want to get into like crazy shit, crazy information that they were perpetuating and propagating, saying basically.
Well, no, it's not crazy. It was straight out of Department of Homeland Security playbook.
Right on. Straight out of Department of Homeland Security, straight ripping the Constitution of the United States.
It was Brigade Homeland.
You know, ripping it in half by saying, oh, basically your rights are you have the right to remain silent. That's what they kept saying. You have the right to remain silent. You do not have the right to do anything else.
You have the right to comply with what the police officer told you to do. And then after you're arrested, then you can complain.
I will tell everyone through my many experiences of being abducted and wrongly arrested and kidnapped by the so-called police. The last thing I do is fucking comply. The last thing I do is remain silent. Because that will get you nowhere. That is a sick game that they are playing with you.
Because you remain silent, you have complied with them and consented that you are guilty.
Right.
Because they are not the police anymore. They are a branch of the banks that came here to take over. They are the standing army. And yes, they are mentioned in the Constitution. They say no standing army is allowed in the United States, except for the police and the Rothschild banks that say that they can do what the fuck they want with the arm of the police and the IRS and all these other Brigade Homeland, which is Homeland Security people, because they stood right up and they pushed out there that SAR program. If you see something, say something.
Oh yeah, I brought that up at the meeting too. They use those words. And
see something, say something. That is SAR. Stands for Suspicious Activity Report. Okay, if you see somebody wearing blue jeans, report them to the police. They're a terrorist. This is bullshit. This came out right before the towers fell. They started pushing this shit, and they're pushing it now. I reported suspicious shit in the neighborhood. The bitch next door rode around 4 years on Maryland tags. I reported it. Don't start trouble, sir. Don't report it. She reported me on false allegations. They're up my ass. I report her with shit that can physically be proved. Not a goddamn thing was done. They told me to shut the fuck up and hide in my closet. So, telling me to see something, say something, I see an out-of-control government. I see the fucking city council, shitty council, I like that one, the shitty council, that was actually very good. Thumbs up to Amanda on that one, shitty council, that was great. Where was I? Oh, yeah. You know, they tell you, see something, say something. I see all this shit, they don't report it. But yet I can go, hey, I see Chris Dorsey walking around the street acting like a nutcase. Can you go arrest him? Sure! Woo! Chris! Out of fucking City Hall he goes. But he's standing there filming the fucking parade of people walking behind Steve Drew, coming in to interrupt the city council meeting, and they don't do shit but protect them. So
right, I want to be very, very clear, because we can kind of segue into like them not even operating under their own rules, and why we were talking about Robert's Rules of Order and parliamentary procedure, because we understand those and comprehend, I should say. During the meetings, I understand parliamentary procedure. Especially when I choose not to, but I'm always within the rules of order during an orderly meeting. And
stop right. I don't know. I have read the book, but I know how meetings are supposed to go, and they don't even follow that procedure.
Right.
So definitely they don't follow written guidelines that they're supposed to follow, because I'm looking on the agenda and I go, well, they say they're going to talk about all this shit. And then they don't talk about any damn thing on the agenda. And it's like,
that's a big violation of that Robert's Rules.
Then why put this shit out then?
Misinformation,
Yeah, obviously.
And I mean.
Plus, if you read what is actually on the agenda, no wonder they don't want to talk about half the shit.
Well, and it's also written in such a incomprehensible manner. Like a lawyer couldn't understand.
Yes.
The legalese that's used. And that was another thing they would do. They would bring these, the residents that they're using the caravan, which is a van service that these folks have to pay for, but it's subsidized by the city. As if anything is subsidized by the government, I will say, a caravan for disabled individuals or less able to travel as freely as others. I'm all for paying for that, but they cut that.
Because it benefited people.
It benefited people, and it's like, well, everybody deserves the right to freely travel, and that's what I would work for. I'll work for that. If there's something that we commonly have to work for, I'm down with that. But what do? They cut that in half. And they're also jerking these folks around. They're putting the hearing on cutting the funding for the caravan on there, and they're bringing these folks down in on the caravan. They have to pay. They have to wait before and after the meetings. The meetings drag on. They push this stuff back, then they cancel the hearing. They did this 4 times. They kept jerking these folks around. And one of the times, there was a fire alarm that caused an evacuation of City Hall. And so I, asked whatever fire officials I could find what was going on. And finally, I got from the chief of Richmond Fire Department that it was a computer glitch. Later on, this drunk council member, right before he speeds off in his car, accused me of setting off the fire alarm. Man, I wasn't even there. Like, what are you doing? You are really too drunk to even be a city council member.
Drunk enough.
Or not drunk enough, because it's like, wait a second, if you were maybe a little drunker, you would have thought without these man, I can't even be that bitter.
Yeah.
But anyways, these guys, they violate their own rules, and they don't abide by their own rules. So during this peeps and police thing, they get up and they start telling folks, hey, you have to comply with whatever the police say. The police are in charge. Let the judge sort it out.
And we're going to train the population how to properly respond to the police when the police show up.
And the only thing that was even addressed as a worthwhile question was the fact that certain members of the crowd were worried about what color the fucking guy was gonna cut, or what sex the individual that carts you off in chains is. Look how stupid you are. I don't care what pigmentation your skin is. If you attempt to put shackles on me, it's gonna be a real bad mistake. So what I'm saying is that was the only thing that was even addressed as a real concern, but that was coming from these staged
stage, and they made sure to get in there that terror question too. If you notice, it's like, what are they doing about terror? Well, you're causing it, of course. I mean, come on.
But here's the thing. Like, I gave, you know, I had a stern conversation with the new so-called chief of police right before the meeting, and I talked to him always about the terrorist organization. I'm talking about the Federal Reserve Bank. I'm not talking about these little idiot staged BS like false flag misdirection psyops. Are you kidding me? And that guy John Pertullo, who stood up and started talking about see something, say something. Man, go back to Yankee Land, dude. Nobody wants you here. Get out of here. You're a traitor to your country. And like that guy gave me a look. He like started staring at me like during one of my videos where I gave him direct orders about, again, like I want to make this very clear. I'm never out of order. I'm never violating the law. I am being falsely accused. Being falsely accused is a violation of the law. It's a felony. And who is doing this? Only government agents. And how do I know that it's false? Because it's all caught on freaking camera.
Not only government agents, because now with that see something, say something. No, because your next door neighbor can then file a false report, and oh well, it looks suspicious.
You're telling me, man? I mean, I've had it happen. Knock on my door.
Oh, yeah, you've had that.
So
I've had CPS up my ass.
The Secret Service, okay, they start going around harassing people, wanting to, like, you know, say, like, hey, everybody tell everybody, see something, say something. But you know what they do? That means everybody and their brother just makes stuff up. But that's the way they operate. That's their MO. Like, that's their tactic. They know everybody's going to make all these false accusations. They know they're false accusations when they show up. And sometimes, guess what? They make up their own false accusations because they legally believe that they have the ability to falsify documents, and it's legal.
Or not even do them. Case in point, I've got report file numbers with no file attached to it. So you go, what happened there? They go, it didn't happen.
And here's the best.
I got video and photos of it happening.
Here's the best plausible deniability. They can basically point at this policy that says, hey, look, we can't have too many smart people in here. As you can see, it's illegal to have your IQ be too smart. So, like, I guess we just, like, fucked up. I mean, I guess they were too stupid to know they couldn't falsify documents, or they can legally falsify documents.
They had a password to find out what was in it.
Or they're being ordered and they, like, don't comprehend what the unconstitutional. I mean, because, like, that's the thing with all these events where it's like, you know, maybe like, you know, 4 or 5 folks like violating folks' rights. Like, my videos and Glenn's videos show that it's a lot more than this. Like, it's a lot. It's like this guy's talking to this guy's giving the orders to those 3, and this guy's, you know, always talking on his walkie-talkie or texting on his phone at the very same time right before he takes his actions. You know, so it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, we've got a video. Who are you talking to? Oh, the police? I see you talking to this Channel 12 reporter right before this little incident starts taking place. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? What are you guys doing? Like, I mean, I see this, because, like, I've been on you know, the hot, big budget Hollywood movies. I've seen the way the communication goes on that. I've been a part of different kinds of operations where that sort of communication is necessary as well. So, like, I can tell what folks are doing, and I can also tell this most obvious one from the Peeps and Police. And I've already released this video, but I plan on maybe doing a little bit more video. But I at least want to talk about it again and get the documentation, because these are all we're just prosecuting a case. We're just saying, like, over and over again. Here's the evidence over and over again. Okay, so we go to Clovey and Lawrence. basically, and you be the judge, because our discussion's on video. You be the judge of what I'm saying, what I'm attempting to convey without being like overtly hostile or aggressive, and just calling us, you know, like calling it exactly how I see it, being as diplomatic as I can be. I'm saying to Clovia Lawrence and others, Clovia, you work for the police, and this is basically just a police, you know, thing, and I require to say my piece because I'm in charge here. If this is people, you know, who are in charge, which is what Clovia said, well, then I'm required to talk to my servants because I know what that word means under the law. So I start talking and I start explaining what the police are. That they are the enforcement arm and the controlling, you know, population control arm of the Federal Reserve Bank, and that they are criminals and they don't really have any authority. And so then what do I catch on camera as I'm videotaping myself saying this, talking to this gathering crowd of so-called peeps and police? I see the new chief of police. I guess at this point, is he now the chief of police?
I guess.
I don't know.
About his 100 day, his first 100 day, but if he's already there, then he's in his first 100 days.
I think they know. Those guys, I think that they know, because I think a lot of it's a scam, like with their retirement, because both, you know, the current chief of police and the chief of police that is either still chief of police right now or will be a former in a week or two, Ray Tarasovic and Durham. I'll just say their names because it's like Ray and Alfred, because like that's what they are to me. Again, their uniforms, they mean nothing except for they are wearing an enemy uniform of an occupying army in my country. So I'm talking to either my enemy as like an armed combatant, or I'm talking to my servant. You know, either way, they throw out that confusion because they allege that they're upholding the Constitution.
Yeah,
but I gave my requirements. If they are constitutional, I'm going to give them the proper.
I fully understand what you're saying, mate.
So I'm going to give them the proper time to comply with my requirements and our requirements, the people's requirements, I should say. So I see this so-called new chief of police, Alfred, this fucking idiot who says he doesn't know what Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution is. I see him give Clovia Lawrence the cut sign. They're both in the frame to me, and she's got the microphone, and she starts introducing members of council as I'm speaking. So, and I just identified these members of council as being complicit in crime. And when I say the crime, I'm talking about when I was orderly sitting at an alleged orderly meeting of the Richmond City Council, and I was falsely accused of a crime and dragged out, falsely kidnapped, abducted, etc. And then I was accused in the media and by the corporate media and by government officials in the media, they were falsely slandering me, of interrupting and being disorderly in the meeting. Yet later on in the meeting, there were folks that were actually disruptive and stopped the meeting. And I'm going to say that the meeting's always out of order and it's always disruptive, but I'm saying that there were individuals besides the government officials alleged to conduct the meeting that shut down the council chambers, and they do it all the time. And every time I do something,
escort them in and let them come in.
They guard them. Yes. They guard them from even being questioned. The police guard the protesters who are being disorderly from even being scrutinized or questioned. When I am in order and I am in my proper seat during the meeting, I am abducted after being falsely accused and assaulted. I have my lawful firearm ripped off my side. I am kidnapped and sexually assaulted on freaking camera.
And also being scheduled to speak
And I know
on their own fucking documents that he's scheduled to speak. Right. They go, oh, Chris Dorsey's here. Let's start some shit with him and get him out of here. We don't want to hear what he says.
And then slander him in the press. Using our mouthpiece, the corporate media. The corporate media are the corporate whores. They work with the police. They work with the government. They're all having sex with each other.
Prostitutes. They're all the prostitutes.
And there's a lot of gay sex involved with the police department. There's a lot of gay sex involved, and it's not just gay sex, but police departments are full of this, and then we could get into the Richmond police going in and sending at risk, and along with social services and Richmond City Council, who have been documented to be involved in what are obviously child prostitution rings,
child trafficking
into the Richmond Outreach Center, which is being run by a known before he came into this town, Richmond.
He's not running it anymore. He's out.
Well, when Richmond City Council, Richmond Police, and Social Services were sending at-risk children, that's when this convicted and known serial pedophile was running this. And not only was it that, but this guy was a felon. He was running a drug gang, and guess who was in board and in bed with this guy? The Richmond freaking police, the Richmond City Council, the Richmond Mayor's office, the freaking Department of Social Services. And guess where that guy lived? He lived in the freaking richest neighborhood in the city of Richmond, right where all those mansions are, right where the abortionist lives, the guy who runs the abortion clinic across, they all live there. Like, look at the richest folks around you, and that's your enemy. If you want to exact your justice against them, that is your lawful right. They are the enemy. We are at war.
I've been at war for 20 years with these people because of when NAFTA came in, all our rights disappeared. Bye-bye. They brought in the North American Union. They took us over.
Our rights didn't disappear. The government acted as if our rights disappeared.
Yes, that is correct. I misspoke.
But it's tantamount to that.
But they may as well just said your rights are gone, because they are. We live in a constitution-free zone.
That's what they say.
According to DHS and everybody else, and then, we just suspended the Constitution, and we can do what we want. Well, that they ain't going to stand on this soil. Sorry. They're going to force people to raise up with weapons and start killing people, which is what they want. Well, I'm trying to tell them, you know what? There's a better way. You all need to be physically arrested, put in your own damn fucking prison system.
That's right.
Take all those people that were smoking marijuana, get them out of there. They don't need to be in there. Get all these non-offenders out of the system and put all the fucking... We got plenty of room now to put all the politicians, the people that are really sucking over everybody.
The ones that benefit from others' misery.
Yes.
If you're benefiting from others' misery, there's a lot of misery out there on this planet right now, and if you think the status quo is good, it's not like we're not going to find you. We will find you. You're on your way. And guess what? You have built your own gilded cages. You think that the Justice Center is great, CT, Captain Torture?
Go live in it.
That's great. Dwight Jones? Well, get ready. You're going to be in there pretty soon.
I think you'll look good in there.
And you know what? These guys, they really think that they're something. They really think that they're going to get away with this.
They're something.
They are something, all right.
I got the words for it, but they're definitely something.
But these guys, they think that they are going to get away with this stuff,
Well, they will until everybody stands up and says enough's enough. When are we going to... It was on your show last night, and it kind of came through. When are we going to stand up and say enough's enough?
But again... What I'm saying is, we just got to organize with what we have, because again, what we said,
there's enough out
300 armed men, we could shut down the city. With the city, we would shut it down. And basically, that's because like we would just
and we would do it legally. It wouldn't be this. It wouldn't be this. We're going to take over and tell everybody what to do. No, we're going to take over and reset what was already in place.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, let's function correctly and stop the crap that's going on.
I mean, seriously. I mean, this is something like you better like if you come to this country, you better like fall in line with the common law and. You better
bullshit.
If you think you want to like, you know, if you think that the fucking, you know, president of the United States on 4th of July, like presiding over you, like, you know, raising your hand for citizenship of the government means shit, that means that you're beneath the fucking people. You better fall in line behind the people. If you say you want to be a citizen of the United States, if you want to participate in our elections, go ahead. The people know that it's a sham. We don't fucking play in that game anymore. Are you kidding? We want to shut down the elections. We want to shut down the folks that run it. We want to give the people back their land. This is our country. If you say you're one of the people and you comprehend under the law what that means, I don't care what background you come from, you're one of the people. But you know what? If you want to parse words and start saying stuff about like, well, the people actually means this, then I'll go, okay. I'm one of the people, no matter how narrow they want to make that definition, no matter how narrow they want to make the definition of militia, I got documented proof. No matter how narrow they want to make the term Israeli or Israelite means, man, as far as the best technology I know, I got proof that I make that claim, and that's an accurate claim too. So if folks want to play games with these things, if they want to play chosen people games, like we can definitely do that. But what I'm saying is the time is right. They have nukes. They're lighting off nukes. They just lit off a nuke in Ukraine. They, you know, lit off a nuke down in West Texas. Like, they lit off a nuke in Charleston Harbor. So, like, if you really want to, like, you know, wait and see what these folks do, just disregard what we say. But if you got an idea of, like, what's going on, and you go like, well, it's really time that we start doing stuff. It's not time to like, you know, get more ratings or get more millions of dollars, as I see, you know, the folks who are making a lot of money off of this alternative, like the answer to 1984, 1776, blah blah blah. With 1776, that's when they initiated the Bavarian Illuminati. How about when we remember the year of the Magna Carta, and that's what we go back to? Or, you know, or something like that. Or how about we go, okay, that's fine, these rules are okay, the Constitution, that's pretty good, it gives all power to the people, we'll take that, that's not our rules, that's the rules of our servants, yeah, it's pretty explicit in that, okay, so let's go by the Constitution. That's it. No talking about right-wing politics or fucking Sarah Palin being a good candidate for office in a rigged election, which you yourself have already documented that they're all rigged. I'm talking about you.
And she'll get in there, and what'll happen? More of the same. So, okay. No matter who you put in, it's more of the same.
It's more of the same, only worse.
Yeah, or worse. And then you go, well, we put him. Well, we need another guy in there to do. Well, if we actually put people in there that would do what they were supposed to fucking do, yes, I'd be all behind that candidate.
But they won't. Opposite of what happens.
But they won't, and you're betting on a Ponzi scheme, going, well, I can make it work. I can make it work. You're not going to. It's only set up to work for the people that are at the top, and then when they collapse it, only they're standing. You're sitting there going, well, it's
it'll never be poor. Because then nothing will be worth anything except for the gold, and look at who will have all the gold. Then nothing will be worth anything except for farmland. Then look at who will have all the farmland.
And they've already taken over, basically. And you sitting here saying, oh, well, we'll just keep voting. We'll keep voting. You don't vote? Why don't you vote?
And we get a free phone.
Yeah, we get a free phone. We get all. Why don't you vote?
Why do we have?
Well, why don't I fucking go rob a bank?
Hey, why do we have to pay like $80 a month, and then other folks get a free phone?
Yeah.
Why?
And who turns around and pays for that?
So like,
they do.
Right. So if there's a concept, okay, so like then it should be like, okay, well then by that concept, if these folks get a free phone because they have less money than me, who doesn't really have any money but has barely enough to like, you know, to function, so then somebody like, you know, somebody else should have to pay like, you know, triple to make up for me who's in the mid. Like, you know, these concepts, they don't like play out all the way. They don't play out all the way. And I'm not saying the folks that get the free phone that they've got it like made. They don't. They got a rough life. You know, I don't want to trade. I don't want to like be able to get a free phone. You know, I don't want these government handouts. But the thing is, like, that's not what you get for your freaking bargain. And that's why they distract everyone. That's why you know everyone's getting their free phones, because our videos, even our best videos, have like, you know, 400,000 views, and Nicki Minaj has fucking 400 million views. Yeah. That's how you know the stupid masses are getting free fucking phones that are better than my phone, that cost a fucking shitload of money. This costs money. They're not giving these free. These are not even close to as good as the free phones that they're giving away now to folks for nothing. Why is this a payphone and those are free?
Well, there's another reason they're free.
I know the answer, so I'm not like...
There's another reason that they're free. They're also being monitored.
Right.
And controlled, plus the fact that all they got to do is push a button and Obama will appear on your damn Obama phone.
Oh,
why? Because it's a way to control you. Chattel. Bleeding chattel. All you are.
That is really ridiculous, because, like, I mean, I monitor my own, like, you know, stuff every day, because like I'm attempting to like, you know, get paid for YouTube, because like I work really hard thus far. I mean, you know, I've got a lot of views, but like still no money, but yet they're advertising on there. So like I'm thinking about like taking that off, because they keep you going, saying like,
keep going, yeah, because they're making money on you. They're making money on you while you're trying to build up. And then they're going to make more money. And then they're going to make more money when you start making money. Right. Well, it's like a bank. They'll loan you money. I mean, you go to put something in, and it's like, well, it takes 3-5 days for the check to clear, but the money's already in the bank, and it's already being compounded with interest for the bank.
Right.
And then they got to turn around, and it's like, well, we already made all this money.
This is why I'm known as non-assumpsit in my banking contracts, and I'm non-assumpsit in every contract. I don't agree with any of them. Even if I sign my name, you'll see NA, but a lot of times you'll just see me writing where my signature is non-assumpsit. I don't agree with it. And it doesn't matter what I wrote down, because it only matters what I say. I don't go along with any decision that's against my best interest. If there's a contract that I've signed that's against my best interest, then I don't agree with it. I don't sign it. You know, maybe in the past I've signed something like that, but I don't agree with it. This is me. I make my own decisions. I'm not contractually obligated to anyone. I'm my own government. So, you know, I'm also a party to the Constitution, but I'm not restricted in any way by it. So I mean, this stuff is just absolutely crazy. So what I'm saying about like monitoring myself and the fact that, again, it's like you said with the banking, with the YouTube videos, I'm reading something and it's telling me that you know, doing my due diligence research, saying that they're giving away 13 cents per view, and I look at my views and I'm like, wow, I should get thousands of dollars right off the bat. So yeah, I'll agree with this and I'll go along with that. And then you have to get, you know, then you have to jump.
Now there's these other rules.
And then there's other rules now.
And then if you pay for the program for a year,
right?
Okay, okay, getting to last night about paying for fucking Skype. Okay, $99 a year, not bad. That's not bad. Okay, great. If I had the $99, okay. On top of that $99, I got to pay for the internet. I'm already paying for the internet to be on it. $99 for that. I need my website set up. That's $90 another year. Alright, so right there that's $200 I got to come up with off the bat. Okay, now, in order to use this other system to work from Ustream that we're broadcasting on now, it's like $200 a year, so that's $400 right there. If I want my phone, because I need my phone to call into places, another $500 for the year. Alright, there's $1,000 gone already just to do what? And when do I make it back? I don't. I gotta pay all this money out to do all this crap, and people go, you should do more, you should do more. I do more than CNN now. I do more than Kelly Avalina. I do more than Brendan Shalita.
Brandon Shalita.
Lying his ass off about if one person showed up from the Justice RVA was represented. Sorry.
Okay. We do have to get into that.
Now, were there a whole group of them?
Yes.
There were like about, 5, 6 people or more. I mean, so yeah, they were represented.
With that group, it was like 40 or 50 of them that were represented.
They were represented,
part of that group.
And it was just a way to go, well, and I noticed Charles Willis threw him under the bus also. Why? Oh, because they want to shut Justice RVA up so that they can grandstand and go, well, this was Charles Willis and whatever.
Well, I want to get really in depth with that, because that was just, he's basically just directly, doing this stuff, and he's just using that as something else.
Using it as what he said it.
Important, because
he said it.
He's got the microphone.
He's got the microphone. He said it. Therefore, ergo, it came out of his mouth. Boom.
Oh, it's on video camera.
It's on video. My conspiracy theorist here has captured it.
He's making that statement for directly for us, because we're the ones that are paying the most attention to it.
And it's like, well, starting off, the very first person out of the bucket was clergy response member Miles.
Yeah.
It's like, and the first person that asked the question was
everybody that was involved in those Channel 12 news stories.
Yeah, was the person that was standing up at the podium emceeing it was the first one to ask a question. And it's like,
right, yes.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell? It's like, they go up at the podium, they say, okay, and then they run back to the audience, and then put their hand up.
Okay, now audience members will have the chance
to ask a question. And then Raphael goes, hand it to Clovia. Clovia goes, okay, any questions? Oh, yes, you just sat down and were staring at the podium, yes?
The one that has already appeared in multiple police and public relations video
and been on my Fed book and goes, reality TV, because I posted something that Silver had said. Yes, reality TV. It's all
what's funny is she came on your page, and Silver was the one that made the statement.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't challenge Silver. The Silver was someone
she doesn't know me, so it's okay to come after me, and everybody comes after me, and shut them up, they kind of run away.
She is, I'm not sure whether, if she knows what she's doing, she is a fucking master at treachery, but, she seems like she has had someone convince her that she is much more competent and smart. And
that's most
and her fucking confidence, coming up to me and asking me if there's a fucking problem.
Yeah, they looked right at me and then shut up to me because she saw the press pass, and they went back after Chris. And it's on film.
And Clovia is standing. Clovia Lawrence is standing there because I'm getting them both. I'm like, you're both here, and I'm like, you're crazy. You're a fucking lunatic. You're not, if you don't
reality TV, yes, it was aptly named.
Reality TV. You just said this is how it's going to go down. The audience gets to ask questions, and then you sit down, and you're the one that asks questions. Which are you, the audience or this? And it's like,
and they were asking, and every time they would ask.
Why does he get the microphone?
Well, every time, he's clergy response.
Right, but I'm saying, I know who these guys are, but who are you? Like, you can't go to a thing and you can't take over like
the first question. It was every question. They were the first ones with their hand up, and then she's like, well, let's go to some other people now, because, and then they went right back to them again.
Right.
So it's like, and watch the video. I mean, I tell people,
it's boring.
It's boring as hell watching 2-3 hours of this shit that I film. I hate filming this shit. I hate putting up 11.5 gigs of shit from videos and movies, but it has to be done. Why? So that it's out there so people can see it.
Because if you watched Channel 6, Channel 8, or Channel 12,
you won't even get what happened.
You will have absolutely no idea what is going on. You will have absolutely no idea, because it's like a movie, except for it's more like a reality TV show where they do about 2 hours worth of filming for about every 30 seconds of airtime that they put on, and that they do all this, all this manipulation. So that's why we go, okay, that's fine. You got your snippet, I got my snippet.
I will thank, was it Channel 8 that had my clip up? They were the only ones that carried. Channel 6. Channel 6 was the only one that carried was the only one that was even asking questions, as far as I'm concerned. I read it, and yes, and not just because they had me on there.
Jarita Patterson, right. I won't say anything bad about Jarita Patterson. Yeah. I mean, I will say bad things about.
She works for the media. I'll say.
Personally, I know she's a lot. She gets paid to lie for a living, but
at least she put out there. There were other people there, not just the plants that were there, and all these news events, all this media circus I see here lately has been just the plants.
Right.
Shalita going just with the plants. The Kelly Avelina going praising the police, only the police, only the police. There was only one, in my opinion, that even stuck close to what I would consider journalism.
Yes, yeah.
And thank you for that. Thank you. We need more. If you would stick more to that.
She needs to do a better job, honestly.
Yeah, she does.
She needs to do a better job.
But I'm saying, out of what, the 3 that I saw,
out of the shit,
or the 4 I saw.
Out of the shit, Jarita, your garbage was the best garbage.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
You at least attempted.
But Shalita,
totally lied.
Lie. I mean, the basis of his story was a lie. The headline of the story was a lie.
I went on Times Dispatch and said that.
And you know what? They did, Justice RVA, which is a police front group with some rogue elements in it sometimes, but basically is they, use their Facebook page to say that it was not true. So it's like, Justice RVA is saying, this article is not true. And Justice RVA, as we know, is a police front group. And so, one of the last things I filmed before I left, the police training,
the Peeps and Police, yeah.
Peeps and Police training, Brandon Shalita speaking to Steve Drew. So,
well, we already know that they're all in each other's back.
Right, but yeah, the overt lying and the Kelly Avelino, being a part of the media, and what she should be doing is in the faces of the police with a camera saying, what do you mean we can't film in here? But what does she do? Instead, she attempts to not only censor herself, but she attempts to censor folks who don't necessarily want to comply with these unlawful rules.
Yeah. These unlawful statutes are not. Yeah. I don't even know what to call them. I mean, I'm going to call them statutes because they're not rules. They're not regulations. They're
not my codes. I have my own codes.
I have to look up the words because I don't have the words.
I mean,
it's more, they're commands. We'll go with commands because that's what they are. They're telling you what to do, and if you obey them, then you're.
What's the funniest thing in military terms is when a subordinate attempts to make orders to an officer. And that's basically what happens.
Well, according to the Uniform Code of Justice, there are times you can, and if the officer is incorrect and is not responding, it is your duty as his subordinate to remove him from
that's very
office,
true.
according to the Uniform Code of Justice,
Right,
military code of justice, and also to remove the commander-in-chief. Why hasn't the military removed that son of a bitch?
Right.
You can, according to the. I was in the military. I know you can remove that son of a bitch. Get his ass out.
Do you want to get into this for like a few minutes, because then we can get into like.
We've got time. I mean.
Okay. Well, you know, because
you know,
we know the president is a puppet for the owner of the bank, and we know what he's a peep. He's not one of the people. Yeah, he's a minion. Oh, yeah, my bad. Minion. So
it could be a peep minion, too.
So, and we know, like, they go like, oh, it's the fucking mafia. Oh, no, it's the fucking, you know, it's the Russian mob, which is actually Bulgarian, which is, you might as well just call them the Jewish mafia.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what a lot of these, like, mafias are. And so, you know, if we listen to intelligence from, you know, former high-ranking military officers and high-ranking intelligence officers, is that there's these, like, you know, assassins that are tied into these, you know, high-level Masonic groups, and also work in tandem with the Mossad, and that they are the ones that are the top assassins that when they decide that they're going to take, you know, folks out. So what I'm saying is that these folks, like anybody who's a Mossad agent in the United States, you know, they might as well just be put in front of a firing squad, and that could be like the president of AIPAC, the, you know, Foxman from the Anti-Defamation League, the guy who got an Oscar for that garbage bullshit, like, propaganda piece, 12 Years a Slave, is alleging that he is selling nuclear secrets and that he's a Mossad agent who has been carrying out treason against and treachery against the United States government by giving our enemy, which is the state of Israel, which is the enemy of the American people, you know, nuclear secrets, and that they have, you know, the Samson option is something that the Israeli government, from what a lot of folks are saying, has the capability to, and has in operational, like, you know, procedure with nuclear weapons pointed and ready to detonate in every European capital. Okay, so this is what we're saying. Like, yeah, Obama, he's just bathhouse Barry. I mean, Bush is more powerful than Obama.
I understand that, but the image that it would produce for the persons out in the world, removing him would be the first card to start that house of cards falling.
Right.
And would be a visual, powerful symbol of going, we removed him.
Well, you know what I also think is a good option for us moving forward, and I just thought of this, is starting the infiltration of the militia in these organizations. I.e., you know, obviously, we were talking about the bankers being, like, taken out. Like, I think it's kind of like, you know, it hasn't gotten to the upper level. It hasn't gotten to the real perpetrators yet. But yet, president of, you know, AMRO was taken out. He's a pretty high-ranking guy that was like a Dutch national bank when it was combined with the Rothschild Bank.
Well, they're killing a lot of them banks.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
They're wiping out a lot of them.
And who's doing that? This is these
intel. Yeah,
the intel, the cherry Marines, the homosexuals that we were talking about, the gay Jews of Hollywood, combined with these, like, Princeton Eating Club guys who are in the Marine Corps and fuck each other all the time.
We won't get into all that.
I mean, but that's
I understand.
I mean, because, like, when we look at the end of the day, what's going on in Richmond is, like, these guys,
tip of the iceberg,
these gay politicians are having sex with these gay media folks. These gay police are having, and the ones that like to fuck everybody, they're fucking excuse my language, they're having sex. But they're
fucking everybody, trust me.
Right. But a lot of
everybody.
this is this sexual trauma control. And I think that's all jokes aside with that this is
there's a lot of like that MK Ultra.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff running it, and just overtly. I mean, like think about the very old concept of sleeping your way to the top, and think about the concept that they bring these folks along.
Politics make strange bedfellows, they say. So.
Think about these boarding schools, you know, where these so-called elite come from, and these getaways like the Bohemian Grove or the Bilderberg group, where they sneak in you know, the top gay porno stars and little boys and girls and fucking roasted babies and etc. etc. Yeah, all kinds of other shit. It's all like from the same.
I'm tired of the fucking sick, dark cabal.
Right,
they are not Illuminati.
These dark occultists. But again, yeah, that's right. Like the people, like we got the concept. Like, you know what? It's so funny. Like everybody's like, well, I'm this Marine and this expeditionary unit and blah 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 and blah blah blah. I take this level of crime and blah and blah blah. So I've been taught by all sorts of different folks, and one of the folks that taught me how to, how to be deadly was a gang member from Gilpin Court in Richmond, Virginia from the 1980s. So if anybody knows about Gilpin Court in the 1980s, they know that it's like a war zone. Like, it was lots of folks were dying like every day. And this man that I'm talking about, his name was Robert Reagan Jr. And there's a Virginia Supreme Court case about him. He was a drug gangster, and he paid the price. He passed along very young. He thought he lived very old. He passed away of complications due to what was exhibiting itself as the AIDS virus. He became a drug addict and was injecting what everybody else was injecting down there, which is coke and dope, heroin and cocaine. But anyways, I learned about how drug gangs operated, very closely with this, and I saw this stuff firsthand, and I saw who was running it. It was the police, and this man would murder folks. I'm talking about Robert Reagan. He was a self-proclaimed murderer, and he always would brag about how he always got away with it, and even offered to, take folks out for me. And I was like, of course not. If I ever have to do that, I certainly know how to get it done, and we'll do whatever to protect my country and definitely my life and my family and my loved ones. But basically, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, and there's lots of different ways. Now, we talk about a lot of what's going on, and we broaden that out to this is just like an assassination ring, and that the assassination rings run everything, and that they are false flag assassinations, they're fake assassinations, there's assassination by gunshot, there's assassination by poisoning, which is what a lot of the, enemies of the Russian oligarchy, which is just the Rothschild front as well, like to do. They like to play that card. And all sorts of stuff, putting poison in
little atomic pellets that they inject you with for umbrella, all kinds.
Or like this one we've never covered before, the boots presented by the son of William Colby to Bob Marley, and Bob Marley was injured by a spike that was on the inside of the boot, and we all know the problems, or many of us know, and I urge others to look into, the problems were coming from the foot, and the cancer that killed him, it moved very quickly, and it was very suspicious for such a healthy individual as as Robert Nesta Morley, and William Colby's son presented him, and William with these boots, and William Colby, of course, was the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, who was then summarily assassinated by the same CIA
all those assassinations, people always wind up dead anyway.
Right.
So it's really a sick cult there.
It is. So we get back to, but
getting back to what you said about loved ones, because this is kind of what the show is about tonight.
Yeah,
loved ones.
Absolutely.
I will do whatever I have to defend my family. I have had the police in my damn house illegally, unwarranted. I've had the CPS in my house unwarranted. I told the head of the CPS to kiss the fattest part of my ass. They weren't doing their job. They didn't do anything to help me. They were not there to help me. They were there to tell me to listen to a fucking criminal tell them what to do. And they did it. They did it brilliantly. Very good. They did not follow their own fucking statutes, their own rules. I have evidence. The motherfucker, the pedophile that came and interrogated my son illegally at school, and then came and interrogated me and my wife, went to jail. My last words to him when I shook his hand and said I have to go get my permit to carry, because they came in for my illegal weapons and all this illegal shit that I was doing. I shook his hand.
Alleged. They are falsely
accusing.
False accusation.
It may as well have been true, because they treated me like it. They called me a pedophile,
but even
though I didn't do a goddamn thing.
That's the key thing. These are false allegations.
All of it is false. Obviously, I wouldn't be here.
Right. That's what I'm saying about all the false allegations. They're false. Sorry to interrupt, but make sure. No, they're false allegations, and
she made false claims. Therefore, ergo,
claims she works for the government.
She was a tenant of a building that I was a property manager of. At this point, she was a citizen. She made false fucking complaints, which I said, why don't you go after the person that is filing all these complaints and make them stop? Do your damn job. I shouldn't have to go to a judge and get a writ of mandamus against the police to make them do what the fuck they need to do. I shouldn't need a writ of mandamus to make the fucking judge do what he needs to do. But around here, it doesn't matter. I can have God. Jesus can be standing there and telling them what to do. They wouldn't listen. So
that happens.
Yeah. And it's like, so
they know what they're doing. So I want to say, this is like it hit and affected you and your family very hard, but it's not.
It happened to another family even harder, and because Trin and her kids, thankfully Trin moved on and got married again, and I want to say I love her. I miss her. There are things that happened, and life went on, and she moved on, and I'm glad that she's doing as best she can and moved on from the trauma. But she didn't move on from the trauma. I didn't move on from the trauma. My family didn't move on from the trauma. And yes, it was a lone gunman. I know what a lone gunman scenario is, and all these things that pop up in the news. It was a lone gunman. He was dressed in black, had military equipment, had all this shit. That's a fucking stage false flag event.
Right. Why was this guy around?
Why was this guy allowed to have a weapon? He was brandishing a weapon in front of the police, beat up his girlfriend, threw her out in the yard, was beating her ass, waved the gun at the police, and the police told him, take the weapon back in the house, sir. It was an illegal weapon to begin with. He was 5 years for any illegal weapon. See something, say something. I did. You know what they told me to do? Shut the fuck up.
I mean, yeah, it's
Shut the fuck up, sir. And if you have your weapon, we will shoot you. I had a permit to carry. I went through all the legal processes. I I'm not allowed to stand in my front yard with my weapon. He's allowed to threaten the police with his. He can wreck a car into a building and tell the police to fuck off. Give me the finger while the police are standing there and threaten my life and threaten my friend's life, and then go ahead and do it. And then they go, well, what did you do about it? And then they were like, well, the case is closed because he killed himself, and so you should be glad that he didn't kill you. He should be glad I wasn't standing there in my yard when it happened, because it wouldn't have happened. He would have been dead meat.
Well,
I'm tired of this shit. I don't need to tell you. You come in my yard and tell me shit, and then because I defend myself, I'm the criminal. Next time I'll be a big ass criminal. I'll wipe out half the street. I'll shoot everybody that has fucking done this shit. And when the police show up, I go, I don't know what the fuck happened. Ask the news. They seem to know every goddamn thing that doesn't happen anyway. Ask the media. Don't ask the press, because you don't listen. You don't listen to the press photographer standing there going,
right,
here's evidence of what the fuck happened. Shut up, sir. You go to Donnie Elam down the street who has threatened my life, and what do you say? Oh, well, Donnie Elam said this shit was going on, so that's what happened. Ignore all the eyewitnesses. And then, oh, why can't I get the police report? Because there won't be any goddamn thing that happened. That's why they're hiding shit, because they know they don't want me telling everybody what the fuck happened. They don't want to know the truth about what goes on. Because if they found out what the truth about what goes on, the crime rate would be very high, people.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Crime Watch. You know what that is? That means watch crime in your fucking neighborhood. Don't start a fucking city block to watch. Start a city block and watch it. Use binoculars, take video. That's about all you're going to do, because it's going to go on, and the police will be escorting it, cheerleading it, and promoting it. And yes, I am fully against their dumbasses. They come in my yard, tell me, oh, you got to behave. I was told by 911 to go in the closet and hide, and then give a full detailed description of what the fuck was happening outside. How the fuck can you do that? I want to know. I would gladly do it. I would hide in the closet with my gun, but I'm not paranoid. I do not have unreasonable fear of the police. I'm not paranoid. I know they won't do their damn job. I don't call 911. It's a waste of time. I got into an argument with the then Chief of Police, Rodney Monroe, about it. I called 911 when shots were fired. I called twice.
Rodney Monroe.
They had one time that I called, and it took them 10 minutes after shots were fired to get there, and then they told me I had no right to have my weapon in my hand while I was being fired at, and ran away because there was a vehicle on fire next to propane tanks that were leaking. Their lives were endangered, but mine in no way, shape, or form was that night. There's a lot of shit that happens that I have evidence of that I'm coming after them for, because they don't do their job. They don't listen to the people that are there. All they're there to do is make the incident stop and go the fuck back and eat their donuts. That's all they want to do.
And they get paid.
Yeah, and they get paid for it. Kid.
Yeah,
can somebody pay me for what I do, please?
I want to say, kind of segueing in, like, you know, Steve Drew. This guy, he like laughs a lot of things off, and he pretends he's a fucking idiot and stupid a lot of the times, but he's really just he's a deceptive individual, and he's a liar, and he's I don't know what the fuck is wrong with that dude, but he's a fucking dick, and I really don't like him, and I'll tell you why, because he's you know, will be given lawful orders, and I'm starting to make requirements because I require compensation.
I require compensation.
Yeah, I mean, so like we want to start saying like to the police, how much money do you make? Well, what do you got in your wallet? I require compensation. You've wronged me. I require compensation. We need to work this out. I'm a man. I'm requiring, you know, give me your gun. So I started saying to Steve Drew, I think Glenn got it on camera, but I'm not sure if everything. Give me your gun, Steve. I require your gun. He's like, step tongue crazy. I'm like, I'm not joking around with you, you son of a bitch. Give me your gun. Give me your gun. You're not getting my gun. And so then, after all this was over, and after the charade was over, I looked at Steve Drew and I showed him my teeth, and I said, "I'm getting your gun." because like these guys, they are not safe with their weapons. We need to disarm the police.
Yeah, they're as crazy as the motherfucker.
Because what they're doing is they're going in public and they're going with arms, and they're having a meeting where they're armed, and they're not the only armed folks in here. In there, I was armed as well.
I was too.
Well, many of us were armed with cameras, but I'll just prove the point where these guys are having this public alleged community meeting where it's allegedly all walks of life, including the church, who is communicating to allegedly the citizens, whatever that means, they use that word a lot, that the police are armed and they can go and do whatever they want to, up to and including killing you with their guns, and you must comply. So what I'm saying to you is, like, how much more do you need to see America? What else do you need to know America? They are telling you this is an armed force. They can do whatever they want to, and you cannot do anything but comply with them, and if you're lucky, they'll put you in jail and they won't kill you. And if you're lucky, they'll take all your money and make you go to court and then stick you in jail and then make you go on probation and then make you do this or they will kill you.
Yeah, the least they can do is kill you.
Right. So what I'm saying is, and also, what was it, 1,100 homicides by police on American civilians. So last year there were more deaths of American civilians. So like, if we take all the street gangs and then they go, oh, MS-13, they're tough, and like, oh, the Italian Mafia, and like all this stuff. If you gathered them up and said over a 1 year period, did MS-13 fucking murder 1,100 folks?
I doubt it.
I doubt it. If they did, then all these drug gangs and the DEA and the ATF, well, which we know are arming these guys anyways. Right. So anyways, retract that. But again, they're openly in uniform.
Yeah, open uniform killing is many on camera, and they respond to this reality that the American people are awake to, and that others are becoming clued into. They respond by having this meeting where they're acting as if it's the community that says, "Oh, it's okay. You can make us do whatever you want, as long as it's a black woman that carries me off in shackles and that takes all my money and that puts me into this program. Oh, that's fine." Yeah. You're gonna end up dead in that fucking jail too. Don't go to that jail. That's the last place you want to be. That's where folks go in and they don't come out. That's where Captain Torture operates out of. Don't go to the FEMA camps. Hello.
No, I mean, this is like, and we covered this last night, and this will be the last thing that I have to say about the old peeps and police, and I'm sure you want to close some stuff out tonight, but again, we hit on this last night, and Glenn and I have been talking about this for a while. What has come out of this, Michael Brown incident? Mass surrenders of the hands up, don't shoot. Then it became a thing where folks would get down on their knees, hands up,
don't shoot.
Then it becomes,
we'll die in the street in front of the police.
These are surrender rituals. They are ritualistic.
Surrendering to the orders that the police that are surrounding you have given you.
Yeah, it's
all you're saying. You're going, Black Lives Matter, so therefore we're going to put our hands up, and then we're going to kneel down and worship in front of the police, and then we're going to lay down and die, and the best thing we can do is just lay in the street and die, because, okay, I get the symbology of it, but it doesn't work, especially when you're surrounded by the fucking police that are leading the organized march that you're supposedly
from the municipal courthouse to the state capitol.
Right, and then back to the courthouse. To march around the parking lot, surrounded the whole time by the police, directing traffic
and blocking rush hour traffic. Yeah. How many buses were blocked?
At least 5 or 6. All of them.
At 5:30 p.m. there were buses.
They couldn't get where they were going.
And so the executives, they leave the office at about 3, 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Sometimes but guess who's getting blocked? It's all the clean crews and the office complexes downtown,
and all the people were screaming at it
to the north side. And who was blocking the traffic?
The police.
And what were they blocking? They were blocking the working folks from getting home after they cleaned up after all the folks in the offices downtown. So like they're all victims and they're all going along with it, but like, and what do we have this leading into? This is also their practice runs for shutting down the streets during the
martial law and everything else.
Right, and also they'll use it to make money during those bike races too.
Yeah, well,
for the tourists, like martial law. But it's martial law, and then they'll use it again, like, because that's why they do these drills, like during the Boston bombing, because they can have a false flag at the Boston bombing, and they also are like shutting down all the streets during this Boston marathon. What's the purpose of your marathon? Stop all the marathons. It's a waste of time. It's obnoxious.
Getting to shutting down streets and all that. I read
bike races elsewhere.
I read this article here just recently that there was a shooting. They had the guy in custody. They caught the gunman, but it shut down the community afterwards for 2 hours for the community's safety. Now they already had the guy in custody and shut down the community. It's like, what the fuck was that for?
Okay, let's remember back to Virginia Tech. Because remember the issues, similar issues with Virginia Tech. But I mean, they alleged that they had the shooter. And then after they alleged to have the shooter, they were all sorts of other stuff came through. But again,
they'd already said that they had this shooter in custody, and then went ahead and shut down the community. And it's like, well, if you've already got the guy in custody, what's the purpose of shutting down the community?
Is any of this true?
I guess it is.
Because remember on the Midlothian Turnpike?
Well, it was true. They shut it down.
They shut down the Midlothian Turnpike.
They shut down this too.
But what was said when we scrutinized what happened?
Well, yeah.
We heard over police radio reports of shots fired.
Yeah, was there even a shooting?
Okay, if there was a police radio in the vicinity of, and I know that place well. Like
we go past it all the time. Right?
Well, I'm saying Emmanuel and Greg Paris, they when they got back into town, they stayed there for a couple weeks, and when we were doing work there, like doing the videos for the different stuff that we were doing, like I would go there, and there's like a murder there just about once every year. But and actually, and it was right down the street from Channel 12. No, that's a different hotel. That wasn't Richmond Hotel, but it was on the same block of Midlothian Turnpike. And folks were in the area, and they said police knocked on the door of this one, unit in that, and that somebody opened fire on the police. Really? And nobody heard any gunshots. Because those rooms are real close together. No physical damage.
And
no evidence at all. And nothing but an alleged report over a police radio.
Well, police, where are the shell casings?
Where are the shell casings?
They got on me for 2005 because there were no shell casings in the road, therefore it didn't happen. So, where are the shell casings?
Where's if you're firing off rounds on that part of Midlothian Turnpike in one of those little fucking, flea bag motels, a lot of folks are going to know about it. It's right down the street from Channel 12, and they locked everybody in Channel 12 and said that they had to turn off
the
external camera
for fear that they might be shot at. You can't shoot from that hotel to Channel 12. I went there, and
but there's a big fucking camera has no human value at all.
Because there's a big fucking truck lot between Channel 12 and that motel.
And that's another thing I was thinking. I was like, somebody would have to be they're out of range.
Yeah.
They're out of range at Channel 12 with the weapons that they are alleging are being fired off. they're out of range to do much of anything. Again, I know how to shoot a gun. I know guns have different ranges. I know that you can shoot a sniper rifle with much more accuracy and a longer distance, but still a finite distance, depending on the type of rifle, than you can a handgun. And different kinds of handguns have different kinds of ranges and accuracies as well.
Yep.
So again, when one scrutinizes and goes like, oh, well shit, just it doesn't happen like that. That's just not the way things go down, and this sounds like a 100% lie, and it's not just this one aspect of the story. It all sounds like a 100% lie. Because again, why turn off the external cameras? Why shut down the Rothian
Because they don't want to be seen doing what they're doing.
Whatever they're doing.
Yeah, they don't
what
want to
are they doing?
camera.
They seem to just be shutting down the road and making up stories.
Well, they don't want everybody to see that they're making
Just
up
like they
stories.
did at J. Sergeant Reynolds. And again, they're doing this at particular times of the day, usually rush hour. That was a Sunday afternoon when they did that at Midlothian Turnpike near the Channel 12 studio. But again, it's mostly during rush hour, it's mostly downtown, but there was also the incident on Midlothian Turnpike. And so we look at this and we say, like, they just do shit.
Yeah,
like, they kind of like come up with a strategy and a story, and then they just come up with lies, and the lies are repeated. And they have no scrutiny, and then you go like, well, somebody's got to FOIA this information, and you're like, oh, I guess, there might be like media, maybe they'll get to the bottom of it.
Don't even get me started on FOIA.
And then like we go like FOIA. I'm like videotaping. I'm asking about information for this incident that happened on the Midlothian Turnpike. Steve Drew, the TV spokesperson for the Richmond Police. I'm doing that right now. I want information. I want this information. I want that information, and I want additional information. So it's like,
yeah,
it's really, if you believe any of this hoax that's being played against you, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking dumbass, and you're counterproductive. And
yeah, I think
and we are planning to
we're coming.
Abolish this charade that they've got going.
I'm coming. I told him I was coming.
And to all the government agents, fucking eat shit.
I'm coming.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I want to leave it on that.
And to the people and the living beings of the earth, peace and blessings. And to government agents and the institutions, leadership of the institutions that control them, eat shit. I'll make you do it.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it on that. And as my son said, remember the dead, fight for the living. That's what we're here. You remember the people that have passed on. I can't do anything to justice. Bring my friend back. Bring my friend back. That would be justice. You can't do that. You can't restore what you've already done to me. But you can compensate me.
Yeah,
definitely
compensation.
You can compensate him for what you did to him in public, and then don't worry, it's still are doing in public to him and to me. And yeah, I'm coming. I told y'all I didn't go away. I just had to regroup. I had to get some stuff in line, and I choose my attacks. I'm pretty good at it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I'm hitting real fucking hard. And I'm going to continue to hit hard until I get answers, compensation, and change. I'm not here just to mouth off. I want change. I don't like the police coming in my yard telling me to listen to a child that shouldn't be in my damn yard. And then, because the mother lied, you are the problem. Well, there needs to be a big fucking change, and I'm going to make it. You need a spark? I'm all sparkly.
Yeah,
I'm going to light it on fire.
We're all sparked up. We've had enough.
I've had more than enough. But I want to thank everybody that's viewing. Thank everybody that listens.
God bless.
People that turned in last night to listen to Chris. We'll be back again Saturday again on his show. Sunday on
Patriots Information Hotline.
Yeah,
PatriotsInformationHotline.com. The show should be up there sometime soon. There's a Facebook page, Patriots Information.
And I'll have the video up from it as soon as I can upload all 11 gigs of it.
And basically, it's just a tool of the militia. Like, all this stuff, even me, I'm just the tool of the militia, because the militia was around these parts doing their job way before me, and you know, we're just carrying on a family tradition. So we're just vessels, or I'm just a vessel.
Right. And Sean, may the force be with you, mate, wherever you're at. And on that note, I'm signing off. Good night, people.